to have us bring this conversation like live and out to everybody instead of us having it, on the phone.
Yeah, because we do talk about this all the time, but
Yeah, I know. But I think it's great because Kina has a business where what she's coming out with is simply amazing. I'm very, very excited to see. Can we talk about it? Are we ready to tell people? Okay.
Yes.
She's doing a webinar next week.
No.
2 weeks.
Not next week.
On the 16th.
Yes.
Doing a webinar on the 16th. And I'm very, very excited. You tell them the name of the webinar.
It's called Simplify, Be Productive, Soar.
Right.
So that's it.
She is a queen at delegating. And to be an implementer for these 6 and 7 figure businesses, you have to be a delegating ninja. So this is one thing I absolutely love about her. And this is great for us to kind of have this conversation in the open. And if anybody else wants to join in, the seat is there. But for me, my biggest thing in being an implementer in these 6 and 7 figure businesses is really, one, to me, I call it being their partner, right? So it's really about taking care of them and making sure, them being the CEO, taking care of them and making sure what they're dreaming about and what they're creating comes to fruition and really comes into light. But I know sometimes it can be so frustrating because they're creatives. I am uncreative, but I don't create on the fly like that. So for me, it's like you create on the fly and they're like, go do this. And I'm like, yeah, we can, but it's going to take time. You have to plan it out. I'm more of a planner. So that gets frustrating. Right?
Yes, it does. And I would say you're creative. It's just in a different way. When people say they're not creative, I kind of cringe because I'm like, you are creative.
Yeah.
You are. It's just in a different way. It's not in the, artsy fartsy kind of way.
Yeah, that's true. That's very, very true. I do like to create things, but I like to create things with a plan.
I like that. So you create, look, there it is. You create the plan.
Yeah.
You create the plan.
Yes.
And then, yeah.
Akila said structured creative. Yes. Very creative.
Yes.
I'll come up with things and then I want to see it. Like I want to see the plan. Because then if I can't see it, it's like, is this really going to happen? Like, what's the first step?
Right.
So what's been your experience in being the implementer behind these businesses?
Well, so in essence, I'm able to talk about this from both sides. So, and both sides being the person who is implementing and the person that is getting somebody to implement for them. And so I understand the struggle. I understand the struggle of trying to get what's in your head out on paper or telling someone else what you see.
Yeah.
It's hard. So I get that. And I also get that it takes time. And sometimes it's, a couple of minutes and sometimes it's a couple of years
before it clicks in. Yeah.
Yes. So I get both sides. The idea is that you have to be able to work with someone who understands that. Because if you and I know people that are like this, they want to know what's next right now. Like they want to see the picture before the picture's painted. And it's like, yeah.
It's like, I just told you what it was.
Yes, I just told you. And they kind of have to be ready for change on the fly. Like, again, because I understand this from being the one that is giving someone else something to do, that I may walk into the store or I may fall asleep and wake up and I'm like, oh, I want to do this now. And some people aren't used to that. They don't want to work like that. And so you have to surround yourself with people who understand like how you roll, how you flow.
That kind of vibe with the way you're doing things. Like for me, when I was building my team, it took me some time to find the right people. Like I've had 2 people on my team that have been with me for 3 years now. And that was a blessing to find Kirsty on my team to work with me. And when I make changes, it's like, oh, we're going to do this. And then it's like, scratch that. We're not doing that anymore. So she
Right.
definitely flows with me. And I think that's one of the biggest keys in finding someone to work in your implementation business. Definitely finding someone that will flow with you. I mean, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, you're right, because it's not easy. Like, I don't ever want to paint the picture that finding a team, and even once you find that team, working with the team is easy. It's not. It's not easy. It's something that requires work, almost like a marriage. You got to work on it every
all
day.
the time.
Yes, all the time.
And what I found interesting is I'm a great implementer for my clients, but when it comes to me, it's like I need an implementer on my team.
Yes.
So,
yes. And that's what I've just figured out.
Yes.
I figured that out like over the last, several months, that, oh my God, as much I keep telling people they need a me, but I need a me.
Right? Exactly.
And again, that's why I say I understand the struggle, and I don't like using the word struggle, but I understand that.
You understand what it takes.
I understand what it takes. I understand the emotion that's involved in it. I understand the time. I understand it. And so, but again, I think that's the beauty of what we do, is that we can see and understand what our clients are really feeling, and not necessarily from a theory.
Yeah.
I've been through this, so we can have this conversation. I'm with you.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's like two things. The one thing that just came to me is I was doing a interview 2 days ago, and I had a lady basically ask, she was saying, why are, implementers so important? And my answer was, the implementer is the person that really brings the dream to life. Like, my CEO can come up with the ideas, and they come up with this grand idea. They know what their goals are. They know what they want, but they don't ever put it in place. And my great example was, I think I told you, the great example was Steve Jobs. Even in the Jobs movie, you see the lady that, I forget her name right now, I think her name was Joanne, that was around him all the time. She was his implementer. She was the one that really put everything into place for him.
Yes. Which is why you say, CEO partner, I say your right hand woman. It's basically, you need that person. I'm working with a company now who work with other, coaches.
Yeah.
And I see it. Like, I'm seeing how the CEO of the company that I'm working with, they have basically pulled him away from the implementation. He's the idea guy. He does this, and this. And then he says, okay, now you guys go do it. Yeah. Now, at the beginning, I was like, really? So you just disconnect yourself like that? But now I understand why. Because his thing is, I'm not concerned about the details. Because one, I know that we can do it. That's first. Yeah. And two, the details are going to make me not be able to continue to create. So
he can't focus on the next big thing.
Exactly. And every person that I have seen that was or is successful in their own right, that's what they do. They come up with the idea, and they have a person or some people around them to make it happen.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the name of the game. I'm just saying, that's the name of the game.
Help you make it happen. Yeah,
yes.
It's true. I mean, and there's multiple ways to do it. Like, for me in my business, when I first started, I was doing it all myself. And then I started to build a team where I have other people helping me also implement. And I guess people now will call that, the multi-VA level?
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's multiple ways to do it. It's really what works for you. And I think what works best for me is, I literally like to work with fast, rapidly growing companies, but work with them closely so that me and my small team, because I don't really want to have a big team. I want to have what they call the boutique business.
Right.
So I know that's what works for me. So I have my small little team, and we go in, it's like Olivia Pope style. We go in and we fix it.
Yes. And so I went through that stage too, where you kind of have multi-VA, then you're by yourself, then you have this, and I mean, it's just, you have to figure out what works best for you, and that takes time too.
Yeah.
Like, as much as people try to model, and even I was saying this, like, I want to model, I want to be like Sonaya, I want to be like Tina P. I think Angie's on here. Yeah. I want to be like, but they had to figure it out. You guys had to figure it out, and so do I. So I'm like, I like certain pieces of what you're creating. I like certain pieces of what Tina's creating.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to take those pieces and make them my own.
Create your own model. Exactly.
Yes. Yeah. Akila, I like the boutique feel too, because that's how you build relationships.
It's
so when
all
you
about relationships.
Yes, it's all about relationships. That is not cliche. Like for me, that's what I felt like was a disconnect. When
With
having
bigger,
bigger team, having all these clients, I'm like, I feel disconnected from the process.
Yeah.
And that's not me. I want to have a relationship with the person that I'm working with. I want to be able to call them if I want to have a glass of wine with them. If we want to talk about their next product, we can do all of that.
Yeah.
But you can't do that when you have 20 clients and you're trying to build relationship with all of them. It just doesn't happen like that.
Yeah. And what I noticed for me is when I was in the phase of trying to build this big agency type thing, and I started growing and expanding my team, the service delivery was just different. And my referrals weren't coming in as they were before. They were coming in like a little. So I was like, I had to sit down and really figure out what was happening. And I'm like, the way we're working is totally different. This isn't really what I want. And it kind of, it showed indefinitely in my pocket because the referrals weren't coming in. And it's so much easier to keep a client and work with a client through a referral than it is to go out there and scout and get a new one.
Yeah. Oh, great question. I don't know if you want to answer first, Sonaya, or you want me to answer.
How did you both break into working with 6 and 7 figure businesses? Did you start out as VAs? I think we might have started differently.
Yeah, I know you started differently.
Yeah. So for me, I really never did the VA thing. I started my business doing systems. So, because I left E-Trade and TD Ameritrade, my background was in business process management, and I literally breathed how to put systems and processes together. And I fell into my business really by helping a sales company create actual documentation and train his team on how to actually use the processes we created. And so from there, I hired a business coach, and she told me, you should just be creating systems. And so that's all I was doing for my clients. Because a lot of small businesses, that's the one thing I feel corporate has nailed that small businesses don't. They don't create processes. And I think part of it's because they're working so fast in real time. They're making money so quickly that they don't take time to put that structure and those processes in place. So as implementers, that's one of the big things that we can offer them. So I started doing that. And then I grew into, hey, now you have these systems, you need a team. So then we started hiring for them. And then I had some people saying, well, why can't you just be our team? And I was like, because I don't do that. But then I started bringing on VAs onto my team. And that's when I started building this team of VAs and realized that that's not exactly what I wanted. So I scaled down to having 3. That's how I started.
Yeah. And let me tell you, Sonaya, when I first met her thing, she had this one-liner, one and done. And I looked at her like, one and done? What are you talking about? She's like, okay, so I hit it and quit it. I come in, put a system together, and I'm out. And I'm like, wait a minute, what?
That's how I did it. I literally had projects that were 3 months or 6 months, and we went in and we did your systems and we were done. I wanted to do projects.
Yeah, and I it took me a long time to wrap my head around that. But I did start off as a VA. Matter of fact, I thought I created the industry. So, but I didn't. So anyway, when I started, it was kind of that generalist mode, which I cringe at now because I realized that at that time I had a nonprofit organization. I had an accounting firm. I was doing financials for people. I had 5 clients doing 5 different things. Oh my God. I quickly learned.
You did everything.
Yes, I did any and everything. And I realized that is not what I want in a business. Matter of fact, that was when I first started calling my business, my business a hobby. Because I wasn't even taking it serious. I'm like, Kina, where are you going at? You're scattered. How are you gonna truly build a business like this. So I had to pull back, and that's when I hired a coach. I forgot her, Ellen. I hired Ellen. And Ellen actually worked with some inner stuff with me. It wasn't even about business. It was more inner stuff with me because I was afraid to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And so as time went on, as I started working with clients, and matter of fact, I looked around and all I had around me were coaches. I was like, I like this.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started working with this woman who worked with the utility industry, doing conferences and traveling with her. And that's when I said, I'm not a VA. I'm not a VA. Because at that point I was running her business.
Right.
And so I started trying to find a title. So I went through this whole phase where it was like, I need a title and it can't be VA.
I did that. I did that.
Yes. And I was like, I don't want it to be VA.
Yeah.
And it took me 6 months of going back and forth. And even to this day, I call myself different things, but that's not even important to me anymore. And I can tell you now that when people ask me, like, what kind of umbrella do you sit under? I'll say the VA world, but I'm not really in the VA world. And I'm not concerned about figuring out what that title is either, or what of bracket.
Yeah. Do you resonate with implementer?
I do. Here's the thing with me. I don't like titles because it puts me in a box. I'm serious.
You're just simply Kina.
Yes. I don't, because what it says to me is that I can't change. Like if I decide to be I don't know, a construction worker. Well, how are you a construction worker now? You was just a VA. Or how are you, this? You were just that yesterday.
Right.
So that's the, I guess, issue with me and titles. I say you can call me whatever you want because I know what I do. That's where I'm at now. I have people call me business manager, operations manager, project manager.
It's funny. In some of my clients' businesses, I have the title operations manager. In others, it's project manager. In others, it's So I think, stepping away from the title is good.
Yes.
The title thing leads to the extraness. It's true. I think for me, I struggled with that for a while. And I think because I came out of corporate and you always had a title, regardless, like what you did, you had a title.
Yep.
So I always like, well, what do I call myself? I always have to feel like I had to have something.
Yeah. And go ahead.
To me, the implementer, like, I don't know, do you guys on the line resonate with implementer or support professional? Like, not so-called the like VA or whatever, but what do you resonate with? Because what you do is you're implementing. Implementer and project manager, yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, and even like, so the other thing that I don't like is assistant. And I hear that, I'm like, please do not call me your assistant, because in essence, I am running your business. Yeah. So you cannot tell me that I am your assistant.
It's so funny. I had someone that says, oh, well, you could just reach out to my assistant. And I called the person and she's like, after I had a conversation with her, I was like, but you do everything? You're not like an assistant. Like most assistants just aren't assistants. They don't just manage the calendar. It's not the traditional back in the day, manage the calendar, book a flight. We don't do that anymore. Well, we do that, but it's not only that.
Yes. Yeah. We're doing strategy. We're helping them create products. I mean, yeah, it's much more than an assistant. But again, if you get tied up in that, you'll be fighting a losing battle, because now you have to, again, create a word, explain the word, let the word sit with them. Yeah, it's like, okay, you know what, whatever.
Right.
Call me whatever, but just, so anyway.
Yeah, but yeah, it's definitely more than just an assistant. So let's talk about the whole pricing of being an implementer. That's a huge thing as well for people, for us as implementers as well, right? And this is funny because this conversation for me came up obviously from our conversations, but also from this interview that I just did. And in the beginning for me, I did all my prices because I did project based. Right? I never did the hourly thing because I was never taught to do like dollars for hours, trade dollars for hours. I never really did that. I know some people do because that works for them, but for me, project-based works best because then I'm able to deliver a service for you and know that I'm going to get the job done. Right?
Yep. Exactly. The project thing, the pricing thing is always it just brings up so many things in people. Your value and how much time, and I mean, so many things come up with that. And I'm with you. Like, give me a project, the cost of the project, and that way I'm not necessarily worrying how much time it's going to take me.
Yeah, because I know I'm going to get it done.
Exactly. It's like, I have to give you this at the end of the project, and this is how much it's going to cost you. So if it takes me 80 hours or 2 hours, this is the cost of the project.
Exactly.
And so, I have these conversations with people all the time about the dollars for hours type, how most people do their businesses. And the reason why I say that is because if you are truly invested in not only your business, but your client's business, you're not checking in at 10 and then checking out at 12.
Exactly.
You are thinking about what you can do better. All the time. So are you clocking back in when you say,
when your brain is thinking about your client's business, like, hey, she could really make more money if she just changed this little thing.
Yes.
I'm not charging for that.
Yes. And are you?
I'm not tracking time.
Are you doing time and a half on the weekend when you know that you're doing stuff? I mean, like, so you have to figure out, like, or realize that model is just not cool. And unfortunately, it's a matter of educating. Not only your client, but really yourself, and being comfortable with, listen, this is how much it's going to cost me to handle this piece of your business, and being okay with whether they are good with that or they're not good with it.
Yeah. So that is, I love what you said. Why does it matter, like, how you did it, how long it took, as long as you met the deadline? Like, that's the biggest thing that I am, especially on my team and with my clients' team. Like, we use project management systems for a reason. And the main reason is this is your task and this is when to do, right? Make sure it gets done before the deadline. That's the biggest thing.
That's it. That's it. That's all I want is, and you think about that. If I want somebody to help me create a graphic, do I really care that it took them 2 minutes or 2 hours? All I care is that they took that from me and that it's done. That's all I care about.
And it's done when I needed it to be. Not
exactly.
Yeah, 2 days later.
So yeah, but again, that's like a conversation that comes up with, I think, a lot of people, especially VAs, because then you start talking about how much is a good rate, and this person is charging $2 and this person is charging $200, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm not interested in that conversation anymore.
Right? Yeah, it was very, I know for me it was hard in the very beginning because I questioned myself in terms of, can I really charge $2,500 for this project? Or, like, can I really charge $2,500 a month? Like, and it's really about knowing that you're helping their dreams come true. And also, like, for me, when I was working full time but trying to start my business, it's like I'm helping this person make 6 figures, but they're investing, this little bit a month.
Yep.
Internally, that was hard. It's like, oh, I can help her make 6 figures. Why can't I do it for myself? Right?
Like, really? I mean, think about that. I mean, if you honestly think about that, you've helped somebody else make 6 figures, but you have a problem with charging somebody, $3,500. Like, I used to struggle with that. I'm like, I don't really charge them $3,500 a month.
Yeah,
I am. I am going to charge them $3,500 a month, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
because guess what? I am not only making her money, but I keep hearing, you know what? My husband's saying, now I have more time with you. Now my children I'm able to go to my children's games. I'm able to go on vacation and not be, like, concerned. You can't put a dollar amount to that. I'm sorry, you can't.
And the big thing for me that changed when I was okay with charging was being that I have a business too. I'm CEO of my own business.
Hello.
I'm an
Hello.
entrepreneur just like my clients are. I'm CEO of my own business and I have to set my rules, my prices so that I can then have a life and be, rewarded for all the hard work I'm putting in for building my business. That's what turned in my mind to make me be okay. And that's what really shifted when my business started to grow and working with 6 and 7 figure clients.
Yes. Because when you find the right one.
Yeah.
So exclusive VA, can you give me your first name? Because I know we have handles, but I always like to say your name. Cool. Quinn. Oh, I like that. That's my brother's name. But you're a girl, so I get that. I like that. Anyway, it's something that just doesn't happen overnight. Like you don't jump to. I'm trying to think of what my first client that I to start. I was doing $800 a month, and then now, like I said, I do 35, and you just don't jump to that because you have to mentally prepare yourself. You have to be confident enough.
So when they come back and say why, you're like, because I'm good.
Yes. You're able to basically answer that question as to why. But more importantly, you start to attract people who don't flinch at that cost.
Yep.
Why? Because they understand that if I get this person who I know is good to help me do what I need to do, guess what? That money is nothing to me.
Exactly, because you're going to be bringing in more, right?
Yes.
You're taking more off their plate so that they can create and bring in more.
Yes. And again, you cannot put a dollar amount to that. You cannot, when you start to hear the stuff that, as I like to say, that are intangible, how it affects their personal life, how it affects them being able to do stuff that's outside of business. You cannot put a cost to that. And so once we get past, and this is why I always said, for me, I used to say this thing, it's not about the money, because it's really not about the money. Not for me. I'm invested in my client's business. If I'm going to work with you, I'm working with you. And so when you're able to kind of when I was able to stand in that, I didn't have a problem with telling people how much I charge. And I didn't feel or didn't get mad when they didn't sign with me.
Right.
Because I was like, you know what? They weren't for me. But it took a long time for me to get to that.
To get comfortable with that. Yeah, it did too for me. I think it took about 2 years for me because in the very beginning, my very first clients, I did a barter to show that I could actually give you value. Right.
Yes,
so I wasn't getting paid for it. I gave them services and they promoted me to their list. That's how I got my very, very first paid clients.
Yes.
And that gave me proof that it was like, hey, I do know what I'm doing. This does work.
Thank you. Was that One Dynamic Life asked what industry are we referring to? I don't know if you're talking about the people that we work with or our industry, but so if you can clarify that question, that'll help.
Yeah. And then Akila, I think that's the biggest struggle. Do I bring value that justifies the investment? And I would say you do, because I know a little bit about you, but in essence, what you're doing in your own business is helping your clients grow their own business, right? So you're taking things off their plate. You're, like you said, the getter-doner, right? You're getting things done so they don't have to, and they can go and have a free mind to go and create more.
Yeah.
So I would say, yeah, you definitely are.
Yeah. Yep. But it's something that I think for the ones that we see that it happens really quickly, they already had it, like it was already coming out of them anyway. Whereas with me, it was hidden. It was like I had to dig deep to find that confidence. I had to dig deep and say, this is what I want, and I'm okay with what I want. And if you or whoever doesn't like what I'm doing, then
you're not the right fit for me.
Yeah, you're not the right fit for me. And there's a lot more people out there for you, or for you to find who you want to work with. But I'm just not it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, definitely. I am so glad that you joined me today, and I'm so glad that this was helpful for all of you guys. I've been, and you know this, I've been on this, like, I don't know what to call it, but I've been teetering between jumping in. I really have this passion for implementers. Like when I even hire people for my clients, it's like, and that's another way how Kina, we came back in, because I was calling you to work for one of my clients, and I was like, you know what? This ain't gonna work for you because you just don't want to work with her, right? So I care about, it's funny, I care about my clients, but I care about putting the right implementers with my clients as well. And then sometimes it's just, I care more for you guys because it's like, I don't want it to be damaging, right? Yes. Especially like when you come in and you know you have good value, but then it doesn't work out. I know how that is for me. And it's like, it's just crushing. What a business implementer does. So essentially a business implementer makes the CEO's dreams come true is what I say. We take whatever project or dream that you're creating for your business and make it happen. So you want to launch a product, you want to do a webinar, you want to send out an email. We make all of those things in the CEO's business happen.
Yeah, and we think about all of the kind of the pieces that come with your bright idea. Mm-hmm. So it's saying, okay, so you're going to need this, you're going to need this person, you're going to need this much time, you're going to need, and you know, we just go down that whole list without you thinking about it. And so that's
looking
how we
far in the future in terms of what could happen and helping you prevent any mishaps, like project management. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yep.
Definitely. There's a lot of project management involved in managing a business.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But implementer also means action. So ideas are great, but action is even better, because guess what? That lets you see that your product, your service come to life. Mm-hmm. So you have to have that space in between my idea and actually seeing the book in front of you. So you have an idea to write a book, but now you want to see the book. Well, there's some steps that need to happen
to make it come up in front of you.
Yes.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. So, like I said, I'm very, very glad, one, that you could be on, all of you. And I'm glad this was very, very helpful. And your feedback, your participation makes me want to definitely do more of these. And I'm also thinking of creating like some type of community for us.
Yes.
So kind of just talk about these things. Because I know for me, over the last few weeks, it was just hard in terms of me just, you know how you have ups and downs in your business? Like, who do you talk to? I want to create something, but I need to talk to somebody about it. So it'd be great to create a community. And I'm going to do that. When I do, I'll come back on and let you guys know where to find it. I'm just debating on doing a Facebook or doing a Slack group or something. What would you guys prefer? Another Facebook group or a Slack group? Do you guys know what Slack is?
Yeah, I know what Slack is. I like this because we're able to talk. We're able to have a conversation. You know, if you can't meet in person, videos is the next best thing. Because, you know, it's like being able to talk something out. It's being able to see a person and have that conversation. Because I know even when you and I talk, just talking to you kind of helps me through what I'm thinking. Yeah. It either tells me it doesn't make sense or that I'm making excuses.
Or you're creating too much work.
Yeah. Like yesterday. You're creating too much work, sister.
I'm not afraid to tell you because... Okay, we use both. I'm glad. Okay, great. So I'm gonna create something and I'll let you guys know where it is. The recording will be here for this. Will just be, if you come back to my Blab channel, it'll be there. But yeah, I mean, for me, when I was starting, before we wrap up, this just come to me when I was starting, and I think some clients and other VAs, and it's conflicting, but yeah, when I was starting, for me, the biggest challenge in my business was being able to actually grow my business and actually still work in my client's business. Like finding that fine balance to actually develop my business so that I can still grow, but then not spend my full day working in my client's business, but still needing to get their work done.
Right.
So that was one of my biggest struggles when I first started. And it really took planning. Like for me, I have a planner that I literally map out everything, and like I have notebooks and paper in terms of what I'm doing, and how to get things done, and then also expanding and building on a team.
Yep. Yeah,
working on that balance. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, Achilles, it is going to be a matter of bringing on somebody to help you, because like I said, that's what I had to figure out. I'm in the same situation, or actually coming out of the same situation that you're talking about, and that's being able to work with my clients and also grow my business. It doesn't happen with just you being involved.
Yeah.
What I figured out is not that I can't, but it doesn't serve me to do the creation and to implement my stuff, because it actually drains me. So I had to start looking at bringing other people on to help me, and then ultimately to help my clients. So if you're not already doing that, start thinking about getting some support for yourself, so that you can get out of that space that you're in right now.
For sure. All right. Well, drive home safely.
Yes, I will. I got to wait for my baby to get out of softball practice. So that's why I'm out.
Is it snowing there? I woke up to like snow. And I'm
it's not, it's melting now. But I was like, this is craziness, because it's going to be 70 degrees next week. I'm just saying.
Crazy. So, Quinn, on my team, I have a person that manages all of our projects. So our internal projects and our client projects. So she's my project manager. And then I have someone on my team that helps me with client projects, my client work, and then my work in my business as well. So it's really about figuring out where you need the most help in your business. I knew for me, I needed, like I said, an implementer for myself, but also someone to kind of manage everybody, due dates and things like that. So that was the first person I hired.
And you know what? It's probably a good idea, just off of my experience, to hire somebody that can help you with your business first, so you can see how they work.
Before you put them with clients.
Yeah, exactly. Because the last thing you want is for you to hire someone, they work on your client's work, and they, something don't go right. So you want to see how they work first with your business, and then kind of let them loose with your client stuff.
Yeah, I have what I call a training program for people that come in to my business.
High five.
And so that, you don't want to let them loose with your clients right away.
Yeah.
Or review everything that they've done to their client. Like for us, systems and processes, when my team does them, I go in and review them before they're finalized for my client.
Yeah. There needs to be some kind of structure. So Quinn, just start thinking. Think about your business like that first job you got and they gave you a manual and they took you through training. Start thinking about your business being just like that.
Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to put those corporate rules. I don't know if all of you have had corporate experience, but those corporate rules or corporate structures, they're okay for your small business. They're totally okay.
Yes. The corporate world can learn something from the entrepreneurial world, and the entrepreneurial world can learn something from the corporate world.
Big time.
So just remember that.
Big time.
All
right, ladies. Thank you. This is like so refreshing for me.
Yes.
Systems and processes. Everybody needs them.
Yes.
So we'll be back soon. Thank you all.
Thank you, Sonaya. Bye-bye.